666.
So according to Yahoo.com, the Saudi Tourism Authority says LGBT plus visitors are welcome in Saudi Arabia. In the FAQ section of the STA's website, somebody inquired whether or not the LGBT plus visitors were welcome in Saudi Arabia. The response was, quote, "Everyone is welcome to visit Saudi Arabia and visitors are not asked to disclose such personal details."
I don't ask, don't tell.
Mm-hmm.
I think Skift, which covers global travel, estimates that the LGBTQ travel market is worth about $218 billion worldwide. And they tend to spend more of their budget, a home budget on travel, 10% of its purchasing power, or nearly 100 billion on travel in the US alone. So it's a traveling demographic. And, Saudi Arabia, as we know, is making a big bet on tourism. It doesn't want to exclude anybody. So it's like, it wants people to feel comfortable coming. And I think it's, obviously that's for the community to decide. I couldn't, I'm sure Saudi Arabia wants them to come. I'm sure Saudi Arabia doesn't want them to be, very demonstrative in their lifestyle. But again, don't ask, don't tell. I mean, people have to remember, and again, it personally, if I were gay, I would go. I would understand that I wouldn't be out there while I was there. But also, I think you have to understand that for the longest time in Saudi Arabia, you don't have to understand anything, but as a suggestion, the royal family, and let's go back pre Mohammed bin Salman, pre King Salman, but also King Salman. The royal family would historically be seen as a little more progressive than society. I mean, things like women's education and other things. The royal family was pushing the envelope. And this, in many ways, is still the case. The Saudi population is conservative. It is not comfortable with alternative lifestyles. It's very excited about tourism. It's very excited to show off its country. And in this article, which was a good article, someone in the LGBTQ community went there and said, I couldn't be out like I normally am, but I was really struck by how friendly everybody was. So you and I both know this. Anybody who goes to Saudi Arabia knows this. So they want the tourism experience and experiment to work. They want to welcome people. But, you can't go there and be flamboyantly LGBTQ and expect not to have some pushback. And again, if I were to, I wouldn't speculate. But all that to say is, let's put some context here. Yes, they would love you. Yes, it's don't ask, don't tell. But understand that the country, by the way, as with almost everybody in the region, everybody in Africa, not everybody, but most countries and most populations, they are much more conservative than the US, much more conservative than Europe, and especially on alternative lifestyle issues. So I don't know if that adds to the discussion, but I just think it's important to point out.
No, I think that absolutely does. I was just sort of thinking as you were speaking there, Richard. This doesn't mean any laws are changing. This wasn't like an official change in local laws on how this works. This just kind of removes some confusion as to, like, if you're a person of this orientation, can I go to Saudi Arabia? Like, am I allowed to go? Will they arrest me at the airport when I arrive? And the answer is no. But that also is this statement on the Tourism Authority website is not a changing of laws regarding this. And I think, it's a delicate subject, obviously, but we all have personal opinions about this. And in my opinion, I really don't care what anyone's orientation is. I to the point where I also don't really want to know. I don't care. Like, it's their decision. And the reality is, I also believe in self-determination. I believe that if a vast majority of people in a country want things a certain way, just like in our country, that they should be the ones to determine that. And I think in Saudi Arabia, like you just said, it is a very traditional society, very conservative. They don't want this, I don't think. I don't know, but I want them to have what they want. I don't want to impose anything on them, and we shouldn't. And so,
you saw it in Doha in the World Cup. let's say, move away from Saudi Arabia, and there was a lot of people there who were, had the rainbow flag, and the authorities said, "You're welcome." A lot of people, a lot of locals were not happy.
Hmm.
They're
Yeah.
just, they're not, it's a conservative society, just like in the U.S. It takes a long time to turn that ship if it's going to turn. And so, again, if I were gay, I would go to Saudi Arabia and feel perfectly comfortable.
I think,
I would
yeah.
also be smart about it. And by the way, when my mom lived in Saudi Arabia, um, she loved it. It was great, but she also didn't go out in a bikini. She wore a abaya. She dressed conservatively because that was the sensitive and respectful thing to do. Um, so you have to, understand your environment. Have some court awareness. Uh, but absolutely, if you're in the LGBTQ community, go see some of the amazing stuff in Saudi Arabia. Be smart, you'll be just fine.
Yeah. And also, I mean, I'm sure many LGBT people have already visited Saudi Arabia
Oh,
without
100%.
incident because they knew how to behave. They knew what to do to follow local laws. I mean, that the State Department always says that, hey, just follow the local rules and, you should be good pretty much wherever you go. Yeah, I mean, but this is not laws changing. This is just, hey, like, everybody's welcome to come, but respect our local laws, which, do not
Oh,
allow
and
for
by the
this.
way, and actually, we should go to the end of that quote. So I think I thought I had it here. An STA spokesperson said in a statement, this, and I guess we should have just gone to this. I apologize, everyone listening, because we just covered this in a long-winded way. The STA spokesman said in a statement, quote, "Everyone is welcome to visit Saudi, provided that they follow and respect our culture, traditions, and laws, as you would when you visit any other country in the world. Like other governments, we do not ask visitors personal questions and we respect the right to privacy," unquote. There it is.
There it is. Yep. Yeah.
Um,
I mean, in the US too, Richard, this isn't like a resolved situation. I mean, we
no.
are more advanced without question, but there's still people refusing to drink Bud Light because it was associated with an LGBTQ person and
Transgender, yeah.
or whatever. Yeah, and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
so we still are dealing with this. So anyway, yeah, we'll put a bow on that. But interesting topic.
Interesting. It's a good one.
Yeah.